Who dat? What's going on, guys? We're about to go live. I'm waiting for a few people to join us, and sorry I had some technical difficulty, so I got a little late of a start here. But glad to talk to you guys about the draft. The Saints select Chris Olave out of Ohio State. Big surprise, another Ohio State guy to get a receiver to pair with Michael Thomas, another Ohio State player from the same alma mater. So that's great. They had to trade up to get him. Gave up a lot. They gave up obviously the 16th overall, but also their third and fourth round pick. In addition to that, they also kept their 19th overall pick and selected Trevor Penning, left tackle out of Northern Iowa. So, look, I think the Saints at the end of the day end up with 2 first round picks, and I think that's a good thing. So we are live on YouTube. I'm waiting for a few people to join me. And then we'll get started. Tararik, you're here. Who dat? All right, we got some people. And Monadula, you're in finally. Thank you, guys. Hey, you're already smashing the like button. I love it. We already got 11 people in here. So let's start. We're starting to get some trickle-ins. Smash that like button. Only 4 of you have done it so far. That really helps big time with the algorithm and what gets spit out and all that. So always appreciate that. Don't forget to share. And if you're not a patron yet, consider becoming one. You can figure out all the goodies by going to saintshappyhour.com. Chinadu, you're here. Apparently, you're a longtime Buckeyes fan, so you're really loving the Olave pick. Well, if you're a longtime Buckeyes fan, then the Saints are like the perfect extension for you. Look, Sean Payton's gone, but the love of Ohio State players clearly is not, as they continue to kind of draft some of those guys. Donald Woods, good morning. You like what we did with this draft? Yeah, so let's get into it. We got enough people here, and we're kind of getting started. My first thought is, obviously you get a receiver and you get a tackle. And I think as we went into this draft, that was kind of the thinking. If we can get those 2 positions, that would be ideal. I'm really happy personally with the 2 players. I feel like they got 2 positions of need. They got 2 guys that are really talented. In Olave, I feel like they have a guy who can contribute immediately. He can come in, he can play, and I expect him to have 5 catches for 47 yards and a touchdown in week 1, or something like that. I expect him to play and contribute immediately. Penning, we'll see. Obviously, the hope is that he can develop enough to be your starting left tackle week 1, but it's going to take some work. It's going to take some seasoning. And so we'll see how that progresses. And I think it's possible that it may take some time where James Hurst would initially start, and maybe it would take as long as 2023 until Penning is your full-time left tackle. I will pull up a tweet that I saw, and I'm going to share with you guys. It was, I have to say, as banner of a night as it was, and I know the offensive staff was thrilled last night, very, very happy with how things transpired. There was a sobering tweet that I saw get put out there, and that kind of put everything in context. It was kind of like cold water on me as I was kind of basking in the glow of what was, I thought, an amazing night. But consider this. The Saints traded away number 18 overall, which ended up being Treylon Burks, number 80, number 98, number 101, number 120, number 237, a 2023 first-round pick, a 2023 sixth-round pick, and a 2024 second-round pick. So that's 9 picks. They also forfeited a pick this year in the 6th round. So if we're going to count that, that's 10 picks. And instead of those 10 picks, what they got was Olave, Penning, number 194, and Bradley Roby. So those 4 things for those 10 things. And I got to say, look, the Saints are aggressive. They get after it. But when you look at it under that prism, I can't help but wonder if that's pretty bad business. In totality, when it's framed this way, it feels like a lot. And so, I'm not one to question Mickey Loomis or the Saints organization very often. But when you look at all that together, I have to say, look, I'm not going to let it take away from the fact that Olave and Penning are on the roster because I think those are great picks. And I'm really, really happy with how last night went. But when you look at the totality of how the Saints are running their business, oof, like it feels like a lot. And look, I'm not going to attribute too much importance to 237 or let's say the forfeited pick in the 6th round or the 6th overall pick. But like, let's just talk about the meaningful picks. All right. 18, 80, 98, 101, 120. And then a first in 2023 and a second in 2024. That's 7 picks. 7 meaningful picks. All right, we'll forget about the picks in the 200s and the 6th round picks. 7 meaningful picks. 18. The biggest are 18 and a first in 2023. Then you got a second in 2024. So those are the 3 big ones. But then you still got 80, 98, 101, 120. 7 picks. And for that, you get Olave, Penning, and Bradley Roby. Doesn't feel great, does it? So anyway, I don't mean to kind of throw cold water on this. The Saints are very aggressive. It's what they do. It's nothing new. I do think it's interesting that, look, as Dennis Allen came on board, they're still trading up. They're still taking Ohio State players. So nothing has changed. Sean Payton might be gone, but nothing has changed. And look, I'll say this. I mean, a lot of people are bringing up the Rams. They've burned tons of picks to go get their guys and build talent. And look, the NFL is a superstar league. If you can get superstar players, you'll be okay. So there's a lot of equity that's been put into Chris Olave and Trevor Penning. And this is how the Saints do their strategy. And so I will just point out that it is what it is. And these guys have to be awesome. I don't think we'll complain about this. We won't revisit this and talk about the 7 picks they lost. If Chris Olave is awesome, if Trevor Penning ends up being on Teron Armstead's level, we got no problems here. And thankfully, Bradley Roby was kept, so it's not like that it was a 1-year rental. So maybe he'll contribute some this year too. All right, let's get to your comments. I already gave a shout out to Tara Reek. Good morning. Thanks for being here. Mona Dula, you're here finally. I know I do a bad job of promoting this. So, but we got over 20 people in here. Don't forget to smash the like button again. Chinadu, you're here. You're a Buckeyes fan. We talked about that. Kenneth, at least we don't have to see the Kenny Pickett pick. Yes, very glad the Saints didn't take a quarterback. And I'll say this real quick, Kenneth, about the quarterbacks. Surprising restraint around the league not taking quarterbacks. And, you know, the consensus, the narrative all along has been bad quarterback class, don't take them. Only Kenny Pickett goes in the first round. Everyone else not selected in the first round. And all of these mocks where people were clamoring for Matt Corral or Sam Howell or Malik Willis. Well, it's not just the Saints. It's 32 NFL teams decided, yeah, we're not picking these guys in the first round. So I don't know. There might be some truth to it. Interesting. Jerry says, happy Friday. Jerry Poor. Donald Woods. He likes what we did in this draft. Chinadu says, Malcolm Jenkins was my favorite Buckeye. And when he was drafted to the Saints, I was very happy, and I'm glad he retired a Saint. Yeah, he's an all-timer. But Olave is next. CK, do you think the Saints could trade down tonight and get more picks? Yeah, so they pick at 49, man. Honestly, I almost feel like there's a better chance that they would trade up somehow. Like, you know, you burn a third next year and try to move up to go get another guy. I just like, I don't know. I'm kind of, well, I will say this though. Dennis Allen did say that they were holding their breath for Penning at 19. And if Penning wasn't there, like let's say if he had been taken at 18, the plan was to trade down. So it would have been just interesting to see what kind of package they would have gotten for that. But I don't know. We'll never know. But if Penning wasn't there, it sounds like they had a deal lined up. And it was I don't know with which team, and I don't know what return they would have gotten. But so I think anything's possible. But, you know, we'll wait and see. The draft after that second round pick is going to be pretty boring for us. I can tell you that, unless they trade down. All right. Let's see. My dad's here. He likes Olave. He's excited. Donald agrees that they're very aggressive. Lewis does not like what they gave up. When I gave all that up, that sobering thought, he said, "Man, that does not feel good." Donald, what happens next? Look, I think Tyrann Mathieu is a must for me. I think they didn't get a safety, they didn't get a secondary guy, so I think as you look at post draft, obviously you know they're going to be all in on UDFA's. They're going to try to find the best ones they can and get a lot of mileage out of that acquisition period. But look, no doubt about it, Tyrann Mathieu is a must. It would still be nice to get Jarvis Landry. Even with the Olave pick, I would love to get him on board. But to me, based on how this first round went, you got to go get Tyrann Mathieu. Let's see who else we got. Yeah, CK, you've been loud and proud about Jelani Woods out of UVA, the tight end. He wants him bad. I hear you. Perfect 10 Raz, by the way. I'm sure the Saints don't hate that, so we'll see what happens. Yeah, Jameis Winston obviously is a big winner with Olave and Penning. He's got to be happy about that. And no quarterback taken, obviously. My dad says he still thinks the trade's okay. It's in the hand versus theoretical in the bush. I hear you. I hear you on that. Yeah, it's when you actually make the exercise of assigning names to those picks, a lot of times it'll make you feel better. But we'll revisit that down the road. Dubbit P says I don't know if I do Dubbit P, I guess. But when they stay pat and miss guys they really wanted, and then they end up with Zach Bond, everyone complains. Fair point. I will say Zach Bond, I still have some hope for him. He's a terrific special teams player. So he's valuable reserve, and I still think he can be an okay linebacker. But I know what you mean. Troutman would have been a better example. Let's see. Yeah, we'll see if they help the offense score over 20 points. They better. If the offense isn't scoring over 20 points this year, I think the defense might be going a little bit backwards. So that's going to be a problem. Everyone's just happy to see Monadula in here. I can see that. Joshua Ford, you're here. Hey, man. You said, I don't know if you look at the law of averages when it comes to the draft. Minus 2017, you only get one or two players every draft, one or two good players. And if they pan out to be great, then in my book, it's going to be okay. Totally fair. I think 2017 is a unicorn. We can't expect that every year. But if you get one or two starters out of the draft, you're doing well. Tomas is here. He's happy to see Monadula in the mix. Jasper Bowden, good morning. He said the Falcons got the worst receiver. I'll tell you, Drake London is a vertical threat. He's got nice size. I think he's a guy that a lot of people should like. But yeah, I mean, Garrett Wilson was kind of the consensus number one. I know the Saints had Olave number one on their board. I don't think a lot of teams had Drake London as a first receiver. So for him to go first as a receiver at number 8, Falcon's gonna Falcon. Gotta love it. 28-3. Let's see. No, that's not my dad, but he does fully agree on Honey Badger and Jarvis Landry. Thomas says Chris 1.5 first Olave Garden. Monadula, how about tight end? Yeah, I think they need a tight end if Taysom's not going to be ready. But I think Taysom's your starter. You could be fine at tight end because then you've got the other Ohio State guy at tight end, and then you have Troutman and Juwan Johnson. I mean, they have a tight end room now that we know Taysom's a starter. I don't think tight end's a critical need. I would love to draft one and get one in the mix, but we know that rookies, especially non-first round picks, take a long time to develop at that position. A lot of tight ends just struggle to make an impact. And so I feel better about the tight end room knowing that Taysom's your starter and the full-time guy. We'll see how it goes with that. But I think he could be pretty good. Cajun Sand says, you guys called this and they picked who you thought they would. Yeah, look, I told you guys I didn't think Penning. He says he listens every time, and it's yeah, I appreciate the shout out, Cajun Sands. He's saying that we nailed our predictions at the draft. I got some good intel. With Penning, I was told 16 was too high, so I knew they weren't going to take him there. I was told that at 19, maybe, but the preference was to trade down and maybe pick him in the 20s. I think when the Saints got to 19, they realized that if they trade down, Penning wasn't going to be there. Similar to Olave, which is why they traded up to get him. I was told they didn't think they would trade up, but I think when that run at receivers went and it was Drake London, Garrett Wilson, boom, boom. And then we now know the Lions were trading up, trying to offer 32 and 34 to go get probably Olave. And then they panic reacted and traded up, and they immediately got Jameson Williams instead. So I think very clearly there was a run at receivers. The Saints were hearing that, and they were just like, we want Olave. We got to go get our guy. So that's why they traded up. I did not expect them to trade up, but I think it just, and this is what we said on the podcast, when the draft is going, it's fluid. And you realize very quickly that if there's a guy you want, and I told you guys, Olave was the number one receiver on their board, and he was a top 10 player for them. In fact, I think he was top 8 for the Saints. And so when you realize like you're about to lose out on this guy and he's by far your number one, I think they're like, okay, we don't want to lose 19. We don't want to give that up, but for 3rd and 4th, we can go up and get him. And so I think that's kind of what happened on draft night. With Penning, I think in a perfect world, the Saints would have probably been more comfortable trading down and getting him at 22 or something like that. But again, I think they just felt like the tackles went fast. And the Cowboys selected a tackle. I'm blanking on his name. Taylor Smith, something like that. Somebody in the chat can probably tell me who the Cowboys picked. But a tackle went around that 22 spot. So I think, Penning probably would have been picked before that. So, and the Saints much preferred Penning to the guy the Cowboys picked. So anyway, that's how that all transpired. But yeah, I mean, we talked about Chris Olave and Penning being the guys. And by the way, Jeff Duncan, man, he didn't even have Olave on his list of likely candidates the Saints would pick. Probably just an oversight. But then he also said, I think the Saints take 2 defensive players. Terrible. Donald, it was Tyler Smith. Thank you. That's who the Cowboys picked. So anyway, that's how it all played out. But look, at the end of the day, the Saints started with 2 first-round picks. Doesn't really matter where, the rest of the draft is. They start with 2 first-round picks. They end with Olave and Penning. I feel really, really good about that. And hopefully in Penning, they have a guy that's their left tackle of the future. And if so, I think it's a big deal. Montedulo, you like Trey McBride at tight end? Yeah, I mean, look, I think they have positions that are bigger needs. I think if they can get, with this pick at 49, if they don't trade up or back, if they can get a running back, I've been really vocal about that. And secondary, to me, look, Tyrann Mathieu isn't in the building. So until he is, I'm lobbying to draft a safety or a corner, so we'll see. But I think right now, let's assume in a perfect world that Mathieu and Jarvis Landry are both with the Saints. Actually, forget Landry because that's not critical. If Mathieu is on the team, then I think you have to go running back. You have to, because we've talked about it. You know why. All right, let's see. Falcons always going to Falcons. That's what Jerry says. Yep, love it. Terrible pick. Let's see. Donald, I would like for the Saints to pick Jalen Petrie. I don't know if he'll be there. Yeah, the safety out of Baylor. I'm with you on that. I like him as a player, and it's hilarious, man. Well, I mean, it's the Mathieu thing. Like, if they pick Petrie, then I don't think Mathieu is as critical all of a sudden. But I agree with Montedulo that Breece Hall probably goes early today. I like the running back out of Michigan State, too. So maybe one of those becomes available. Jasper, he asks, do you think Honey Badger, Jarvis, and the lost leverage now after the draft? I guess sorry. Oh, do I think they've lost leverage now after the draft about wanting top dollar? Look, if they were going to get top dollar, they'd already be on rosters. You know what I mean? So, like, no matter what deal they sign, it's going to be for less than they were hoping for. So, it is what it is. Will Hildenbrand, good morning. He says the Saints hit a triple and a double. I love it. Good baseball analogy there. But hey, Monadula, can we start calling Penning bulky Nick Underhill? So if you go look at a picture of Trevor, this is hilarious. If you go look at a picture of Trevor Penning, the resemblance to Nick Underhill is slightly shocking. Go Google image him right now. Seriously, it's funny. I personally am partial to Thick Underhill. I think that's a great name for Trevor Penning. So yeah, I'm gonna beat that drum. Thick Underhill is probably what I'll be calling him for the foreseeable future. We've already been joking. Actually, we've been texting each other, the guys on the podcast, and we were saying that we need to get Nick Underhill on our show. And when Nick Underhill's on our show, the whole point of the interview is just to get him to say something about Penning, like complaining that he looks like him. And then that becomes a soundbite for the podcast every time we talk about Trevor Penning. So basically, like, we'll have Nick Underhill on. He'll think it's like a show where we're mining his brain. But really, it's just getting one soundbite from him that we can use forever every time we mention Trevor Penning. So, like, that's the whole point of the podcast. So you guys will be in on that secret, but we'll try to make that happen at some point. But yeah, Thick Underhill. I'm liking it. Yeah, go Google image him. Like, it's a striking resemblance. It's pretty close, I gotta say. Yeah, Kenneth Walker. That's the running back out of Michigan State. Chinadu, he likes it too. Yeah, I mean, look, if you can get him, if you can get Breece Hall, either one, I would love it. Yes, Jalen Petrie, Donald Woods likes him as well out of Baylor. Yeah, he's. I don't know that you sign Honey Badger if you get him, but safety is a need, so that'd be good. Let's see. Dada Saints #1. Good morning. You say, me personally, I wouldn't mind Trey McBride, the tight end, or running back being selected in round 2, or another linebacker, if not for those other two. Yeah, so we'll see. Yeah, there's options here. I don't think the Saints are kind of handcuffed with how they need to go, but like, I just feel like there are better options veteran-wise, and that's why I want a running back. There's a better options position-wise at other positions. Again, Matthew at safety. You got Landry, who's a receiver. I feel like there's tight ends that are still out there. If you go look at the veteran list of tight ends, running back is less appealing of the free agents. So that's why I kind of linebacker. Quan Alexander hasn't signed yet. He's still out there. So like, I feel like you can get depth at some of these other positions where at running back, like, it doesn't feel quite as much like it. Nick Underhill is definitely the man. Hey, just because he looks like Trevor Penning and just because we want to play a joke on him doesn't mean I don't love him. He's a good friend. I love Nick. So definitely no hate being spewed here. Let's see. Yeah, the DNA check, Will says, is a must. I agree. A striking resemblance, like I said. Jerry Poor says his reaction was a trade up to get Chris Olave. Jim says, I told all you people calling for a quarterback in round 1 they weren't going to go in that direction. Yeah, look, I tried to say that too. I tried to tell everyone. A lot of people didn't want to hear me on Twitter. They're like, no, we need Kenny Pickett. We need Malik Willis. I just think you've already got, some people in the building that are good. And it's not that I think Jameis Winston is the quarterback of the future, but he could be. And I just think Little Jordan, sorry. Somebody's saying Little Jordan in the chat. Little hands. Yeah, Kenny Pickett. I just don't think they're going to be as good as Jameis Winston in their careers. Now, Midge, now you're talking my language, Midge. Carson Strong in the 4th round. Well, we don't have a 4th round pick, so we'd have to trade up to go get that. But see, that's more appealing to me because that feels more like an Ian Book pick. You're not mortgaging your future. You're getting guys that can help you now in Olave and Penning. Penning might wait a year, right? But like, I feel like if you were to draft Pickett, or Malik Willis, they would sit for 2 years and maybe a year. But like, I'd rather, if you're going to develop a quarterback, I'd rather get a guy that, like Ian Book, where maybe he works out, maybe he doesn't. I don't think the Saints are going to take Carson Strong, though. I think they want to develop Ian Book a little bit more. and I think he's going to be the number 3 this year. Dada Saints number 1 says, I know the Saints can't stay out of the 5th round, so I wonder if anyone may be traded for us to get back in that we don't know about. Yeah, I mean, look, I haven't studied, the picks in the 200s and 300s enough to really know who the Saints would want there. But again, I think from what I've been told, the Saints want a running back. I'm not just like saying this in a vacuum because it's what I think. It's what the Saints think. They want a running back. So they have prioritized getting a running back at some point in this draft. If they don't get one with the 2nd round pick, they do still have their 5th and 6th, I believe. Or no, they don't have a 6th, do they? I think it might only be 5th left. I don't know. Somebody can correct me on that in the chat. What picks do they have left besides 49? But I know I believe they have a 5th round pick. So, maybe a running back there. So we'll have to see. And if they don't, then I think they'll be all in on the UDFAs. Yes. Irv, thank you for, yes, the 6th round pick was taken away. And for those of you that have been living under a rock, it was taken away for not wearing a mask and dancing in the locker room after a win. That's why I got taken away. I guess because they did it more than once, technically. They were warned and then they did it again. And so a 6th round pick was taken away. Meanwhile, the Titans are practicing offsite because the whole team has COVID against league rules. And I don't believe they lost the pick for that. Correct me if I'm wrong. So gotta love Roger Goodell in the NFL. Jim says, for some reason, I have a feeling the Saints go wide receiver again in round 2. What do you think? At least one more in the draft. It's possible. I think they would have potentially double dipped if they had not gotten Olave. I think they feel really confident that position is solved. And it's not that they don't need another one. Like they could go they could sign Landry or they could maybe get a UDFA. But I think if they hadn't gotten a receiver in the 1st round, I think then maybe they would have gotten one in the 2nd and the 4th, you know what I mean? And just kind of like galvanize that and make sure like if the 2nd round guy ends up being a bust, maybe the 4th round guy will be good. But I just think now they feel really, really good about the fact that, hey, we're solid at receiver. So I don't think they're feeling pressure to double dip necessarily. Let's see. Saints Nola. Good morning. How do you feel about the Washington trade? Can I get a shout out from Fresno, California? Who dat? All the way out on the West Coast. Man, bright and early for you. I guess it's 7:15. So, but yeah, shout out to Saints Nola. And I'm feeling good about that trade. The Saints got their guy. I think Olave is going to be awesome. I'm a huge fan of his game. Look, he's fast. He's got great hands. And he's a tremendous route runner. Reminds me of Lance Moore in some ways, honestly. And I'll tell you this. The Saints have some guys with talent. Callaway, Deonte Hardy, Traquan Smith. Those guys have talent. I mean, I know they're not like household names. They're not great receivers, but they have talent. Lil Jordan has talent. But, like, I'm sick of guys that they need to coach up that have talent that we're hoping are going to be able to become 60 catch receivers. I need a guy that can run routes. I need a guy that can catch balls. I'm done with like the development thing, like I need a guy that can come in and do it. And Olave runs routes better than all those guys. And he has better hands than all those guys. Polished, complete receiver. Not great after the catch, but you know who is good after the catch? Well, Jordan Humphrey, Traquan Smith. If they actually catch it, if they're open and they actually catch it, I feel good about what they do after the catch. So if there's one hole in Olave's game, he's not going to break tackles, but man, everything else is so damn good. So damn good. So Daniel says we have 161, 197, and 194. Okay. So we got 3 picks after 49. So we actually still have 4 picks left. I don't know if someone wants to fact check that. I guess did we pick up another pick at some point with that? Jim, it's Deonte Hardy now. He changed his name. It's not Deonte Harris anymore. Deonte Hardy. He changed his last name because I guess his dad's not in the picture anymore, and he took his stepfather's last name. So you got to get used to that. It's Deonte Hardy now. He's changed it. Let's see. So yeah, Daniel says we have two in the after the second round pick. We have two in the sixth round. So one in the fifth round and two in the sixth. Thank you for that. Okay. I guess we picked up an extra sixth with one of the trades, maybe. All right. Let's see. Do we see the long ball more? That's a question from Kenneth. Absolutely. I think for a couple of reasons. I think now this unlocks you in a number of ways. First of all, I think Chris Olave can stretch the field. He has the speed to do that. So I think you have that ability with Olave already. But now on top of that, I just want to add, you've got Michael Thomas, you got Taysom Hill, you got Olave, right? So all the attention that's creating, imagine how much easier it is for Deonte Hardy to get that matchup. And so now you can stretch the field with him. Now, instead of Tre'Quan Smith being in a position where he's kind of always on the field, he's kind of your blocker receiver. And so when Tre'Quan Smith is in the game now, the thing I like about Olave being on this team and Michael Thomas coming back is that Tre'Quan is now your run personnel receiver. And so when he's in the game, the Saints can start to kind of lean more heavily on running plays when he's in. And by extension of that, safeties cheat up when they see Tre'Quan Smith in the game. It's a run tell. And now Tre'Quan maybe occasionally gets the vertical matchups where you go deep to him with play action. So like there's this domino effect that Olave creates that is kind of a hidden gem about this all. So not only are we getting more vertical with Olave, it's the vertical opportunities offensively that it creates for the other guys too. Whereas if Tre'Quan Smith and Deonte Hardy are your number one and number two receivers, which is what we were dealing with last year, like safeties know they got to pay attention to Deonte Hardy when he's on the field, right? But like if Olave, Taysom Hill, and Michael Thomas are full-time taking attention away from Hardy. Anyway, you get the point. Ralph is really good after the catch, Monadula says, but he can't catch a cold. I can promise you that Ralph can't catch, and he is awful after the catch. That is blatantly false. Jerry says, when Chris Olave was selected, you should have heard my reaction. It was epic. Yeah, I think we all kind of – I mean, I don't want to pretend to have been as epic as yours, but I think we were all pumped about that. I mean, my son, by the way, huge Chris Olave fan. He was going nuts when the Saints made that pick. He was pumped. He's a huge Olave fan. All right. Mr. Wallace and Monadula, now they're correcting me. There's only one pick in the sixth. All right. So I believe we have a second, a fifth, and a sixth. So I think we have a consensus here. 3 picks left. Okay. Thanks for correcting me there. So yeah, not a lot of draft equity left. Not a lot of stock. Interesting to consider if they would maybe trade down. Do the Saints feel like 3 more picks is enough? Look, if you leave this draft with 5 players, that's not so bad. And, I know the Saints are going to go hard at UDFA. I wouldn't even mind packaging that 6th and trying to move up in the 5th a little bit. So you have the whole 6th round and 7th round and prepare for the UDFAs. That wouldn't be the worst thing in the world. Jay Giggity is asking about the pronunciation, I think, of Chris Olave's name. Yeah, so it's Olave. So the E is like it has an accent on it. Olave. That's how you pronounce it. It's not like the Frozen character Olaf. Well, it's not pronounced Olaf. But anyway, yes, we are going to run the Olave garden jokes into the ground with Dave. I'm thinking a soundbite where it says, when you're here, your family, and just drop that every time when we mention Chris Olave. I think that would be a good soundbite for him. But I'm pumped about it. And don't forget about Thick Underhill. Again, if you're late and you're just joining us, Trevor Penning, I love Nick Underhill. This isn't an insult. Trevor Penning bears a striking resemblance to Nick Underhill. Google image it. It's nuts. So we will be calling him Thick Underhill henceforth. Mr. Wallace wants to trade down with the 2nd round pick and pick up a 3rd rounder. I would love that. I would absolutely love that. Hopefully it happens. All right, guys, this was awesome. If you haven't yet, please hit that like button. Seriously, it helps a lot. We really appreciate the support as always. Obviously, draft coverage is going to be coming hard and heavy. If you're a $10 patron, I'll be doing some write-ups on the draft picks after the draft is done. So be on the lookout for that. If you're not a $10 patron, please consider becoming one. Don't forget to share this podcast. Really appreciate it. Lots of great questions, lots of great activity. You guys are so great supporting me and the show. So really appreciate it. And look, I think there's a little bit of unease about everything that they've given up pick wise. It hasn't felt awesome, but I'm just kind of basking in the glow of Olave and Trevor Penning being on the Saints. Yesterday was a cause for celebration. It was a banner night. And offensively, I had to put up with watching the number 31 offense in the league last year, 32 passing, I believe. The receiver room was a joke. I mean, watching Kevin White and Kenny Stills and Little Jordan Humphrey, guys just not getting open, running poor routes, balls hitting him in the hands, dropping him constantly. I think you have to remember what we were going through last year when you think about how it makes you feel that they traded up. And they get a guy in Chris Olave that I just couldn't be more excited about. I think he is a tremendous player. And on top of that, we lost Teron Armstead. So Penning is a big deal too. These are really big acquisitions that I'm really happy about it. So, and I think hopefully they'll both be Pro Bowlers. Who dat? Thank you guys. Talk to you again soon. And I'm sure we'll be doing a live show tonight for the second round. So join us then on the Saints Happy Hour podcast. Who dat?